What if I told you that there's no one in charge inside your brain? No center, no self sitting on the throne of your mind. Neuroscience has searched for that point and found nothing. What we call identity might be just a story told by the inner narrator, an illusion so convincing it traps billions of people every day. But when you realize the luminous emptiness behind it, a space opens up and freedom begins. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself exactly where the self lives inside you? Maybe you believe there's a secret center, an invisible throne where your identity sits and rules over every decision. But what if I told you neuroscience searched for that place and found nothing? No core, no pilot in the brain's cockpit, not even a control room. Just electrical activity, like fireworks lighting up and fading with no one watching. This absence might feel unsettling, almost threatening, because we've been trained to believe there's a commander, a supreme narrator, responsible for who we are. But what if it's all just an illusion? A story so well told that it becomes convincing. Imagine an inner voice that creates plots, justifies actions, and invents identities, and you've mistaken it for your very essence. Wouldn't it be liberating to discover that this prison was never real? When we look more closely, we notice that thoughts arise and disappear like clouds in a vast sky. Emotions emerge like waves on a lake. They rise, dissolve, and give way to new forms. There's no conductor orchestrating the symphony, and yet the music continues to play. That's how the mind works, a vibrant spectacle unfolding within. A luminous emptiness with no fixed center, no permanent entity holding the reins. This emptiness, far from being a cold abyss, is fertile space. It's where the energetic field of pure consciousness manifests. The same field spiritual traditions have called Atman, Tao, spirit, or self. Quantum physics echoes this vision by showing us that the universe isn't made of solid objects, but of dancing probabilities in an invisible ocean. What you call me might just be a temporary wave in this sea of possibilities. And when you hear this, something inside you feels both fascination and fear. Fascination for the freedom that arises from this vision. Fear because the old foundation of identity seems to slip away. But take a deep breath with me now. Inhale, slowly exhale. Feel how, even without clinging to a self, you're still here, aware, alive. This is the first glimpse of the space where true transformation begins. Imagine your mind as a radio. Thoughts are stations that fade in and out. But consciousness isn't the music or the voice. It's the invisible field that allows the radio to tune in. And the most curious thing is that when the radio is turned off, the silence remains untouched, waiting. So are you, behind the narratives. There is always a silent presence. When you believe you are only the inner narrator, you live trapped in frequencies of anxiety, judgment, and repetition. But when you realize you are the space that observes, your vibrational frequency rises, and the law of attraction begins to work more naturally. Because it's not the narrative that attracts abundance, but the energetic alignment born from the silence between thoughts. If you feel a tightness in your chest, as if something is being lost, know that it's just the old identity resisting. The subconscious mind, programmed by years of repeated stories, fears the void because it doesn't know how to live without control. But that void is precisely the doorway to reprogram your mind and access a truer self-image, broader, more connected to the universe. Maybe you're wondering, if there's no fixed self, then who am I? That's humanity's oldest question. And the answer isn't in words, but in direct experience. Close your eyes for a moment and just observe. Don't try to change anything. Notice how thoughts come and go. How sensations appear in the body. Ask yourself, where is the center that controls all this? You won't find it, and in that not finding lies the freedom. Because life doesn't need a controller to happen. Trees grow without worry. The sun rises effortlessly. The heart beats without conscious command. So do you. Your essence already knows how to live in flow. manifest realities, and collapse reality from the vibration you hold. All you need is to learn how to trust the universe. That trust isn't surrender. It's release and receiving. Like inhaling and exhaling. It's knowing that internal programming can dissolve when you choose to see beyond the narrator. It's realizing that the space that observes is greater than any story, greater than any identity. And the deeper you go into that space, the more the energy of worthiness becomes natural. Now, try a little exercise with me. Place your hand on your heart and feel the beats. Ask yourself, do these beats depend on you thinking about them? No. They happen on their own as part of a greater flow. The same goes for consciousness. It's there, holding everything, even without needing a self to be in charge. That is living proof that you already are what you seek. From here, the journey will go even deeper. We'll explore how neuroscience and spirituality dialogue about this absence of the self, and how you can use that knowledge to change your reality. We'll talk about manifestation techniques, timeline jumping, and how to raise your vibration to naturally attract abundance. But first, take a deep breath and hold on to this silence within you. If this content has already begun to open new doors, in your mind and heart, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone you feel needs this message. Together, we'll expand this community and create a collective energetic field capable of transforming lives. And of course, comment below which insight you'll apply first. Now imagine your mind as a grand orchestra. The violins are your thoughts, the drums are your emotions, the flutes are memories that blow through and vanish. Each instrument plays at its own rhythm, without a conductor to guide it. And yet, the music happens. This is how inner life unfolds. A centerless performance, a spontaneous symphony of vibrations that you may notice that thoughts arise suddenly, like unexpected notes, and are quickly replaced by others. Have you ever realized you can't choose your next thought? It just appears. That realization is the key to freeing yourself from the illusion of control. Because, in truth, the I you believe you are is just another note, another sound. In this orchestra, when you observe this internal music without clinging to it, something magical happens. It's as if the sky opens behind the clouds. The silence that supports each sound becomes more apparent than the notes themselves. That silence is pure consciousness, the elevated vibration that enables all manifestations. The more you align with that space, the more your reality begins to shift naturally. Imagine your identity is like a melody repeated so many times that you've forgotten there are other possibilities. You keep playing the same song, I'm anxious, I don't deserve, I never succeed. But if the conductor doesn't exist, who's keeping those melodies alive? Only habit, only the internal programming of the subconscious mind. And it can be reprogrammed. Now, close your eyes for a moment and listen to your own orchestra. Notice the notes arising and fading. What vibrational frequency is your music in? Is it in tones of scarcity, struggle, fear? Or is it beginning to sound with elevated vibration, with trust, with abundance? This simple act of listening already opens space to rewrite the score of your life. The ancient sages said the mind is like the sky, and thoughts are just passing clouds. The sky is never affected by the clouds, and yet it allows them to exist. Modern physics, on the other hand, shows that reality is made of vibrational fields, where each particle is a wave, in constant motion. When you understand this, you realize you don't need to fight your thoughts. Just recognize that they pass within a larger field that is never touched. This vision dissolves the weight of a fixed identity. Because if thoughts are clouds and consciousness is the sky, then who are you really? Not the passing cloud, but the vast space where everything happens. This shift in perspective is a true timeline jump, because it takes you out of the prison of the inner narrator and connects you to the universe's unlimited energetic field. Maybe you're wondering, how do I apply this in everyday life? The answer is simple and profound at the same time. Start by noticing every time the inner voice tells a story. Just note, this is just a narrative, and notice the silent space behind it. This exercise, repeated over and over, begins to reprogram your mind and open space for a new self-image, one that vibrates in tune with abundance. Now, let's try something quick together. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, imagine that each thought is a note dissolving in the wind. Stay only with the silence between one note and the next. That silence is where your true identity rests, free, radiant, untouchable. It is there that you access your energy of worthiness. When you learn to rest in that space, the law of attraction starts to work differently. You don't have to try so hard to manifest. Things flow because your vibration is already aligned. Life begins to bring people, opportunities, and situations that resonate with this new frequency. It's like changing the radio station. Suddenly, the static disappears and the right melody starts to play. This understanding is universal. The Upanishads speak of the Atman. The Stoics spoke of the Logos. Einstein said the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. All were pointing to the same silent space that sustains life. Modern science and ancient spirituality meet right here, in the recognition that there is no fixed self, only the flow of consciousness. The more you integrate this, the more you see there is no separation between spirituality and science. Both are languages trying to describe the same mystery. And you are that living mystery, a quantum field in motion, capable of collapsing different realities depending on the vibration you sustain. That is the power of raising your vibration and changing your reality. With each conscious breath, you begin to dissolve the old identity. And at the same time, you begin to manifest a new version of yourself, more authentic, more free, more in energetic alignment with the universe. This process doesn't require force, only surrender. Just trust the silent space behind the mind. And this is where the journey deepens even more. Because now we're going to investigate the inner narrator in greater detail. How it operates, what masks it wears, and how it confuses billions of people every day. By revealing these disguises, you'll have the key to freeing yourself from the story that holds you captive. Inside your mind, there's a voice that seems to always be present. It narrates your life like a sports commentator, explaining, judging, justifying every move. It presents itself as if it were you, but it's not. It's just a layer, a background program convincing you it's the center of the story. That voice is the inner narrator. It wears many disguises. Sometimes it shows up as the relentless judge, always criticizing and pointing out flaws. At other times, it plays the motivator, pushing you forward, but out of fear of failure. And occasionally, it becomes the storyteller, repeating old plots that uphold your self-image. 3 different voices, one same illusion. The problem is that when you believe this narrator, your vibrational frequency drops. You get stuck in patterns of scarcity, anxiety, and judgment. The subconscious mind absorbs these narratives as programs and begins to recreate the same reality day after day. That's why so many try to change their lives but feel trapped in the same scene. The narrator is still holding the pen, but here's a new perspective. The narrator is not consciousness. It's just a character within it. It's like a movie screen, and the narrator is just the film playing. The mistake is believing you are the film, when in fact, you're the screen. This simple but profound shift is the beginning of a timeline. Jump. Have you noticed how that voice starts speaking even without your permission? You're driving, and suddenly it comments. You're silent, and it brings up an old embarrassment. This proves the narrator isn't who you are, but merely an automatic process. Recognizing this is liberating. It opens the way to a higher vibration where you're no longer a victim of the narrative. Take a pause now. Close your eyes for 5 seconds and observe the inner voice. Don't try to silence it. Just notice it. See how it arises on its own, without control. And also notice the silent space behind it, a witnessing consciousness. That space is you. That space is the key to reprogramming your mind and manifesting new realities. From this recognition, everything changes. Because the inner narrator may keep talking, but it no longer holds power. It's like listening to an insistent child, but knowing you don't have to obey. The simple act of observing already begins an identity shift. You stop being the character and begin seeing yourself as the greater energetic field. That field is vast, luminous, and creative. It's where manifestation techniques work. It's where the law of attraction finds fertile ground. Because without the weight of the narrative, your vibration naturally rises. And the universe responds, not to what the narrator says, but to what your energy truly vibrates. Remember, the narrator is just a reflection of the past. It repeats memories, fears, and learned patterns, but you are not the past. You are the space where the present unfolds. That consciousness is the only constant that never changes. Everything else changes: thoughts, emotions, body, circumstances. But the space remains, and abundance lives in that space. Neuroscience calls this emergent activity. There's number fixed center in the brain, just processes that arise and fade. Likewise, there is no solid self within you, only flows of experience. Spirituality has said this for thousands of years. Now science confirms it. 2 languages, 1 truth. Imagine how your life would be if you could live less identified with the narrator. What would it be like to wake up without carrying the story of who you need to be? What would it feel like to simply be, without constantly justifying yourself? That is life in a higher vibration, where you align with the universe's flow. The narrator doesn't need to be fought, only recognized. It's like realizing you're dreaming inside a dream. When you awaken, the dream continues, but no longer imprisons you. That awakening is the key to collapsing the reality you desire. Because from that point on, your energy of worthiness expands. Now, carry this reflection with you. Every time you hear the narrator, ask yourself, who is listening to this voice? That simple gesture reveals the silence behind everything. And that silence is you. This practice, repeated, opens the door to a new self-image and a new timeline. Modern science has mapped every corner of the brain. In search of where consciousness lives, they searched for a hidden throne, a command room, a control center, but nothing was found. Only circuits, electrical impulses, emergent patterns. There's no self sitting anywhere. At first, this may seem frightening, but think about it. If there's no center, that means consciousness is not limited to the brain. The brain is just a radio, a tuner. Consciousness is the invisible field manifesting through it. Just as a radio doesn't create music, it receives it. The brain doesn't create consciousness, it expresses it. That's a massive shift in perspective. Because if you're not confined to the brain, then your essence is bigger than the body. You are part of an infinite energetic field. That's why manifestation techniques work. Your vibration isn't limited to your thoughts. It reverberates into the universe's quantum field. Now imagine for a moment turning off the radio. What remains? Silence. That silence is pure consciousness. It's the same luminous void mystics spoke of, the same unified field physicists describe. You're not the narrator nor the radio. You are the silence that holds everything. Neuroscience calls this distributed activity, no fixed center, just patterns that connect. Spirituality calls this unity. What we see then is that there's no contradiction. Science and ancient wisdom are pointing to the same mystery. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your mind as an old radio. Feel the stations changing, the noise, the melodies. Now, turn off the radio. Notice that even in the silence, you remain conscious. That is direct proof that you are not the thoughts. You are the space that perceives. When you align with that perception, your vibrational frequency transforms. You're no longer trapped in repetitive stories. You begin to vibrate in trust, in surrender. And the law of attraction responds naturally, because now you're in resonance with the universe. The Stoics said peace lies in realizing we don't control everything. The Vedantins said our essence is the Atman, the unlimited being. Einstein said the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. They all pointed to the same silent place. This is where science and spirituality meet. And how can you apply this in your daily life? The answer is practical. Whenever you feel lost in mental noise, imagine you're just changing the station. Let go of the narrator, breathe, choose silence. That choice is the subconscious mind being reprogrammed in real time. This practice changes your self-image because you stop identifying with the voice and start identifying with the space. And it's that space that has the power to collapse reality. The more you anchor into it, the stronger your energy of worthiness becomes. This is when you realize the narrator may still exist, but it no longer rules your life. It's just background noise. You are the silence that observes. This recognition is the beginning of a life of abundance. Now, try a simple exercise. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine you're turning off the mind's radio. Allow yourself to rest in the silence, even if only for a few seconds. That rest already raises your vibration and opens space for the universe to align with you. Each time you repeat this, you're training your mind to let go and receive, teaching yourself that you don't need to cling to stories. And little by little, this practice becomes a new lifestyle, one based on trust in the universe. And in that space of trust, quantum manifestation becomes natural. Because there's no effort, only flow, no control, only surrender. This is the real shift in reality, to stop believing the narrator and start living as free consciousness. Have you noticed that when you write down your intentions, they gain strength in the field? That's why I created the Quantum Journal Bundle, a 33-day journey with vibrational practices and codes. The link is in the pinned comment for you to access. For centuries, science and spirituality seemed to walk in opposite directions. One sought facts, the other sought meaning. But today, we see they both speak of the same mystery. What neuroscience calls the absence of a center, ancient masters called the luminous void. What quantum physics describes as a field of possibilities, the sages called spirit. This meeting is powerful because it shows we're not dealing with beliefs, but with direct experience. When you close your eyes and observe the narrator, you yourself confirm that it's not the center. When you feel the silence behind it, you sense there's something greater. This isn't theory, it's living practice transformation in. Real-time quantum physics shows us that reality isn't solid. Particles exist as probability waves until they're observed. This means consciousness participates in the creation of reality. Spirituality has always said, you create your reality through the vibration you hold. Now science echoes this same idea in different words. And when we unite both views, life changes. Because you begin to trust that you're not just an isolated individual, but part of a larger field. That field responds to your vibration. If you vibrate in fear, you collapse realities of scarcity. If you vibrate in trust, you attract abundance. The universe mirrors your energy. Imagine a calm lake. When your mind is still, the surface clearly reflects the sky. But when it's agitated, the reflection distorts. So it is with your consciousness. The calmer and more silent it is, the more clearly it manifests abundance. That's the secret that unites spirituality and science. Both teach you to calm the inner lake. Now, try this with me. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, visualize a lake within you. See the waves settling, the surface smoothing out. Feel how this calm state is also a state of power. It's there that you access your worthiness energy and manifest more clearly. Upanishad said that the human being is like the space between two thoughts. Modern physics says that between each pulse of energy, there's an invisible field. Both point to the same mystery. You are the space. You are the silent presence that contains everything. That is the deepest identity you can assume. This identity shift is essential, because as long as you believe you are the narrator, you'll be trapped in old stories. But when you embrace yourself as the space, your vibration expands. And that expansion opens doors that once seemed impossible. You begin to live in a timeline leap. That leap is neither too mystical nor too scientific. It's human. It's the experience of breaking free from conditioning and feeling part of the whole. It's living in energetic alignment with the universe. And when that happens, the law of attraction is no longer a theory. It becomes your lived reality. Notice how this understanding brings calm. It's not a fight against the mind, but a recognition that it arises within something greater. It's not repression, it's freedom. You don't need to battle the narrator, just notice it's not the center. That awareness dissolves attachment and opens space for abundance. Now imagine yourself in front of a mirror. Instead of just seeing your form, also see the space around it. That space is as much a part of you as your image. Likewise, your consciousness is not just thoughts, it's also the silence that surrounds them. That is your true self. When you begin to live from that place, everything changes. Your relationships become lighter, your choices clearer, your energy higher. You begin to attract situations that reflect that vibration. And that's not magic, it's natural law. The field responds to what you sustain. And at this point, you could already feel that the journey is just beginning, because the absence of a central self is not a threatening void, but a fertile field of possibilities. Let's go even deeper into this space in the next steps, revealing how this consciousness can transform every aspect of your life. Until now, we've seen that there is no fixed center in the brain, that the narrator is not who you are, and that consciousness is greater than any story. But now we need to go further. There is a profound paradox. You are both the observer and the observed. You are the screen and also the images projected onto it. This is the mystery that changes everything. Imagine you're standing in front of a mirror. As you look, you see the reflection of your body, your face, your expression. This reflection is always changing, but one thing remains constant: the mirror itself. The same is true for consciousness. Thoughts and emotions shift, but the awareness that observes remains. And at the same time, you are also the reflected forms, for without them, the mirror would be invisible. This union of opposites is the key. The inner narrator insists on separation. This is me, that is not. But when you realize you are both the space and the content, the struggle ends. You don't need to reject anything or cling to anything. You simply recognize that all that appears as already you. This acceptance dissolves the weight of seeking. In physics, there's the concept of wave-particle duality. The same entity appears in two forms depending on how it is observed. So it is with your consciousness. Sometimes it appears as thoughts, other times as silence. There's no contradiction, only a dance. You are the whole dance, not just one side. This recognition brings a sense of inner homecoming. Because there's no longer a war against the mind. You don't have to fight to silence the narrator. You simply recognize it as part of the whole. And the more you accept it, the more the narrator loses power, because it no longer needs to fight for your attention. Peace arises naturally. Now, close your eyes and feel. Inhale deeply. Ask yourself, who is breathing right now? Notice that the body breathes on its own. Notice that the mind thinks on its own. And yet, there is a silent witness perceiving it all. That witness is you. This is your true identity. This witness space is the source of quantum manifestation. Because in it, you're not clinging to the past or projecting the future. You are present, vibrating in sync with the universe. And it's in that energetic alignment that doors begin to open. The universe responds to the now, not to stories. When you anchor yourself in this place, you begin to feel the energy of worthiness as something natural. Not because the narrator says you deserve, but because existence itself proves it. You breathe, you exist, therefore you are already worthy. This feeling dissolves layers of scarcity and opens the space to attract abundance. And then everything transforms. You stop seeking a solid identity and begin to rest in the fluid space of being. You realize that you don't need to collapse reality through effort, because it is already collapsing through your vibration. You simply choose to sustain a higher vibration, and the rest happens as a consequence. This is the final paradox. You already are what you seek. You already are the observer and the observed. You are the space and the content. The search ends when you realize there was never any separation. And in the end of the search, true freedom begins. Now allow yourself a few seconds of silence. Just breathe, feel the body, feel the mind, feel the space. And realize, all of this is you. You are greater than you thought. You are more vast than any narrative. This is the truth that sets you free. As you integrate this, your practical life also changes. Because when a challenge arises, you no longer identify only with the difficulty. You remember that you are also the space in which the challenge occurs. That brings calm, clarity, and strength to act in alignment. This is the wisdom that transforms realities. And the more you live this way, the more you realize that abundance is the natural state. Because the entire universe is already abundant. The sun doesn't charge to shine. The tree doesn't ask for permission to grow. Everything happens in flow, and you are part of that flow too. Just let go and receive. We're arriving at the heart of this journey. But before we conclude, I want you to remember a simple phrase. You don't need to find what you already are. Just recognize it. That recognition is awakening. It's the return to the home that has always been within. In this moment, you might feel a different silence within you. A stillness that is not apathy, but power. This is the space from which all manifestations are born. This is the place where you can reprogram your mind, shift your self-image, and create a new reality in alignment with the universe. From this space, manifestation techniques are no longer effortful. They become natural expression. You no longer need to repeat empty affirmations, because your vibration is already the most powerful affirmation. You don't need to force belief, because the energetic field responds spontaneously to what you sustain. Now, think of something you wish to manifest. It could be peace, love, abundance, health. Hold that intention for a moment and feel that it already exists within you, not as a distant promise, but as a frequency you already vibrate. This is the identity shift. Stop seeking outside and start recognizing within. When you vibrate at that frequency, the universe responds. And it doesn't respond like childish magic, but as a natural law. Because the quantum field doesn't distinguish between desire and reality. It simply reflects the energy you emit. And the more you sustain that vibration, the more the external reality adjusts. This is the timeline jump. It's not a journey into the future, but the decision to sustain a different frequency now. By doing that, you shift into a version of reality that resonates with your new vibration. This is how you change your life from the inside out. Now, do a simple exercise with me. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, silently say to yourself, I am the space that observes. Say it once more. Feel how this phrase dissolves the need to search. Because by being the space, you already contain everything. This is worthiness. Energy in its purest form. When you begin to live this way, everything expands. Your relationships become lighter, your decisions more aligned, your creativity more abundant. Because you're no longer trapped by the narrator. You are living as consciousness. That is true freedom, and remember, you are not alone on this journey. Millions of people around the world are awakening to this same perception. It's as if a new symphony is being composed, a collective song of elevated vibration. And each time you awaken, you contribute to raising the frequency of the whole. This awakening is not just individual, it's collective. By freeing yourself from the inner narrator, you inspire others to do the same. By raising your vibration, you open space for the human energetic field to rise as well. That's the beauty of the process. Your personal transformation is also global transformation. Now I invite you to share this journey. If this content touched your heart and opened new doors in your mind, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with the people you love. Together, we can expand this field of consciousness and create a community of quantum manifestation and abundance. And one more thing, comment below what your biggest insight was. What part of the message resonated most with you? Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to read to take the next step. Let's create this circle of sharing, support, and expansion. Remember, you are not just the voice, nor just the silence. You are the whole. You are the energetic field that contains all possibilities. And from that recognition, there is no limit to what you can manifest. Life is already waiting for you to say yes. So now, close your eyes once more. Inhale slowly. Exhale and feel. You already are what you seek. The universe is already within you. The silent space is already your home. And from here, your new reality begins.